Bubba Carpenter. It's all right. I just had to give you the nickname of the Sausage King of Chicago because 40 years ago today, Bubba, Ferris Bueller found a way to stay home and take a day off. It's one of my favorite movies. I saw it on a couple of baseball buses with road trips. More Fletch, more Caddyshack, but there was Ferris Bueller every once in a while. Did you see that on a bus too?
Yeah, I think I watched that one. There was a lot of Caddyshack. There was, what's the bowling movie where, Big
Lebowski or Kingpin?
Kingpin.
Mm-hmm.
We watched Kingpin. Dumb and Dumber. That was kind of the movie of choice.
We don't really watch serious movies on baseball road trips. Never. Not if you're watching it collectively. It's always going to be some goofy comedy and a lot of times a sports comedy.
Yeah, there's no like Shawshank Redemption or anything like that on a baseball bus ever.
All right. Well, so we got a couple of days until this super regional starts. The anticipation is now beginning to kill me a little bit. So do you see this going down the same way that the last regular season series starts? Do you think we may see a different outcome? Do you see this going 2 games, 3 games? What are you thinking?
Well, Phil, before I answer that, can I give Little Rock Trojans a giant shout-out to Chris Curry and his team?
Please do.
I know you guys have probably talked about it, but, man, I am so proud of those guys. I know we're on in their area in Central Arkansas. Love Chris Curry. I know several of the players. Man, so proud of them for what they did. And there's the way Chris Curry handled that whole situation, just absolute class. And that's how a head coach is supposed to lead his team right there. So that was really awesome to watch. Boy, I wish they could have pulled it out. It was kind of gut-wrenching at the end. Boy, they just ran out of gas at the end. And but, boy, super proud of them. And so, anyway, I wanted to say that before we get started talking about this super regional, so I appreciate it.
Well, so in that super, LSU did the same thing that Tennessee did, which was use – they have 2 aces. Tennessee's got Doyle, and they threw Ianson in the last, I think it was the last 2 1/3 innings of the Monday game, and that pretty much cinched it for them. Just like Doyle is able to shut down Wake Forest, but that pushes them back a little bit too. Now I think it affects Tennessee more so than it does LSU because the Tigers have 2 aces and Tennessee has 1, and I don't think he'll be starting on Saturday.
Yeah, I think you're right. And, boy, with Liam Doyle having to come in and throw 100-something pitches, 103, then coming back in and throwing 30-something more, and those are high, intense pitches. I think that could affect him. And, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Marcus Phillips in Game 1. I'm dying to hear when they announce it. But he did well against us last time out, Phil. 4 1/3, 7 hits, 3 runs. But I think the fact that we've seen him, and that's the thing that I love about this Razorback lineup, we make adjustments. We've seen this dude. We know what he's going to do, how he's going to attack us, and we make adjustments. I think we put a lot of emphasis on Liam Doyle, and we did a really good job against him. Now let's make the adjustments against Marcus Phillips, and we're going to be in good shape.
I remember watching Zach Root pitch against Tennessee, and it felt like he just wasn't able to get a breaking pitch over, and his changeup was ineffective, which changes him as a pitcher. But last week, and against Ole Miss too, he got those pitches over, and that turns him into a legitimate ace, and that's going to be key. Because I know Root will start Saturday, Wood gets the ball Sunday. They're different style pitchers, but if Root has his stuff the way he did against Creighton, now I'm not saying he'll dominate the way that he did against Creighton because Tennessee's just a much deeper lineup, but as long as Root has a breaking pitch to get over, I think Arkansas is going to have an edge in pitching Saturday.
Oh, absolutely, Phil. And that's the thing. When we played Tennessee before, he wasn't locating his fastball well, couldn't spot his breaking ball. Changeup was okay. But, last weekend he had all 4 pitches working. And when Zach Root's got all 4 pitches working, he's just tough. He's really tough. And then you've got to really mix your pitches against the Tennessee lineup. You fall into a rut, they'll sit on pitches that hurt you. They've got 128 home runs on the year. We've got 120. So they're a team that can definitely hit it out of the ballpark. But if Zach's on his game like he was this past weekend, I really like that matchup.
I know one of the storylines is also Cannon Peebles being suspended for Saturday's game, and I'm sure that the kid that's getting in there is talented. The catcher, the freshman catcher, Slade, what's his last name? Outlaw, something like that. But I'm sure he's talented. He just hasn't been catching on weekends, Bubba. And you know how important trust amongst your teammates is up and down the batting order. There's probably nothing that matters more on a baseball team than the trust between a pitching staff and the catcher. And I don't think that I'm sure the Tennessee pitchers, think that this kid is a talented catcher. They just haven't thrown to him very much. And I wonder if that affects the way that they throw their pitches. You know how you want to finish a pitch, throw it like you mean it. That also has a lot to do with the trust in your catcher. I wonder if that affects Tennessee Saturday.
Yeah, I think it could because, Marcus Phillips got that nasty breaking ball that he has a tendency to bounce, and you got to trust that your catcher can block that. So, that could be an effect right there. But, he's caught all these guys in the bullpen, Phil, and I know they were talking about that on another. I'm listening to guys talk about it. He's caught them all in a bullpen session, and he knows them all. But it's different when you're catching at a super regional at Baum Walker. It's different when you get behind the plate, And I doubt that he'll be calling the pitches. I'm sure the pitch calling will come from Frank Anderson dugout. But still, that's a huge loss for them. The fact they don't have Peebles behind the plate, and it's not just defensively, it's offensively. You look at Peebles had some big hits against us. Once he had like 5 RBIs on the weekend, had several hits. So offensively, that's a hit also.
So how early do you think there'll be, Tony on the top step arguing a strike from 50 feet away from the umpire? When will the first slow-down tactic happen? Will it be the first at-bat in the first inning for Tennessee? Because this was like LSU a couple of years ago. I feel like the slow-down tactics are designed just to get in the opponent's head and annoy fans on the road, too. And I don't think that Tennessee looks at it as, well, we're playing mental games with the opponent. I just think their intensity is at 11 out of 10. It can bubble over sometimes. Do you think that affects them in a negative way this weekend?
Who knows, Phil? It gets to be, it's a little annoying. You and I talked about it that last, when they were in town a couple weeks ago. We play a 4-hour and 3-minute 9-inning game. That's not supposed to happen with the pitch clock and all the hurry-up rules, but somehow they managed to drag a game out over 4 hours. Shouldn't happen, but I just find it's kind of humorous that when they get 2 strikes, all of a sudden their bat handle gets sticky or slick, and they got to go get the sticky stick. It seems like every time they're 0-2 count, my bat, I got to go tighten it up, or their helmet doesn't work all of a sudden with an 0-2 count. It's just like always something. It's a little bit frustrating. There's a lot of mound visits. Just Tony does come on the top step, always want to go talk to the umpire about something. It can be frustrating, but you know what? I think it bothers us way more than it bothers our players. I don't think I think Dave's talked to them. They know what they're going to get, and I don't think it phases our guys at all. But it really does. It just gets under my skin, but I need to overlook it. I'm just sitting up in the booth, so what I think doesn't really matter. But it can be annoying. It can be a distraction. If you let it distract you as a team, it will. But I don't think this team's going to let it affect them at all.
Where do you think Aiden Jimenez's role is this weekend? Will he start a game, or do you give him a chance in relief again, the way they've used him in most of the regular season? Because if you have an opportunity to shorten this to 2 games, you go for it, right?
Absolutely. I think his new name is TBA. Yeah. So I think we're going to do whatever we need to do. If we need to use Gackle on Saturday, we'll use them on Saturday, following Zach Root or Jimenez, whoever we need on Saturday, we're going to use. And then same on Sunday. And then when we get to Monday, whatever's left over, that's going to be our starter, or you can call it an opener if you want to. I mean, let's just look at a guy like Parker Coyle. Let's say we don't have to use him much, which I assume we're going to have to with some of the lefties in that lineup. I think Parker Coyle's going to be a big weapon for us. But if we don't have to, Parker could open the game if there is a game 3. Hopefully there won't be, but if there is, he could be a guy that could. I mean, there's so many guys out of that bullpen, Phil, and that's why I don't really worry about it too much. It's all about getting, at this point, we're looking to get 54 outs. If we can get 54 outs and win it in 2, let's do it.
Mm-hmm. Ben had texted in on the Lewis Automotive Hotline asking, do you have any unproven doubts about the team? Any question marks about what we've seen that can rise up again in terms of maybe clutch hitting or starting pitching? Because right now, I look at what we saw last weekend, and it's a team that played pretty close to perfect baseball. Friday wasn't the most dominant game, but it didn't need to be. And then Saturday and Sunday were total dominance. Is there anything about what you've seen from Arkansas that could concern you coming into this super at home against Tennessee?
No, I feel really good about it, Phil. I really do. I mean, I'm not worried. Everyone says, well, we got to get good starting pitching. Well, look at our starting pitching last time we played Tennessee. We got 9 innings and we gave up 10 runs out of our starters. We won the series. We've got enough bullpen arms that I'm not that worried. Yeah, we want good starts, but if we don't get them, that's not the end of the world. Hitting-wise, I love our approach. And I know Nate Thomas and Bobby Warner, they're going to put together a really good approach against our hitters. I think we're going to play better defense than they are. I think they're known to kick the ball around a little bit. They made a couple of mistakes against us that really hurt them. I just think good baseball beats bad baseball, and we play better baseball. And I feel really good. It's not because I got Razorback goggles on. If I was just an independent person looking at these two teams, I think it's going to be a phenomenal series. I really do. I think if you're a true baseball fan, you're going to love this series. But I think the Hogs are the better team.
What do you got on Vahiva and the Golden Spikes? I think he's got I've thought he has a great shot for the last couple of months. I just wasn't sure who he might be up against, and I think it's going to come down to him or the Florida State shortstop Lodis, who's got better slash numbers, but Vahiva's got power. RBIs are pretty close to the same. The defensive statistics are nearly identical. I wonder if the league they play in could end up being the separator. Florida State's right on the doorstep of Omaha too, so I'm not sure who's going to win this.
Yeah, it's tough. I just think if you're a person that's watched, and I'm sure, if you live in Florida, you're going to say the same thing about Lodis. I mean, his numbers are really good. He's a great player. He's going to play for a long time in the big league. I think it needs to go to a position player. I don't think there's a pitcher that's been dominant enough. I don't think Liam Doyle's been dominant enough to win it as a pitcher. I think you've got to put up like Kevin Cobb's, Hagen Smith type number to win it as a pitcher. He hasn't done it, so I think it comes down to one of these two guys. But I just feel like, Bill, if you watch Vahiva Lloyd play every day, and he never takes a day off. He's in the lineup every day. He makes any play you can make. There's not a play at shortstop he cannot make. And not to mention what he does offensively and what he just brings to the team. I just feel like that he's your guy. So I really hope that he gets the votes to win it.
Just to close out here with you, and this will be the fifth super regional that you and I call together, the fourth at home. Now, the last two have been against ACC teams in which Arkansas hadn't played them in the regular season. 18, South Carolina. That was a rematch. 19, Ole Miss. That was a rematch. This is the only rematch of any of the super regionals. How does that affect? It's not a matter of, does anybody get an edge? To me, this just mirrors a little bit more of like what it's like to play pro baseball, because you play a team that you played 3 weeks ago in pro baseball, and you got to make adjustments. That's what this means to me.
Yeah, I think so. And they know what we're going to do. We know what they're going to do. We've got the scouting reports, and that's why I feel good about it, because I feel like the best team's going to win. And you always say the best team going to win. The team that plays the best is going to win. And I just think we play better, Phil. I really do. I think we do so many of the little things that kind of go overlooked as far as playing good defense, just fundamental base running, holding runners on. There's a lot of things that they don't do well. Now, they're a really talented team. I think it's sad that we're having to play each other. These two teams should be in Omaha representing the SEC, in my opinion. I don't know if there's a way to reseed teams after the regionals so something like this doesn't happen, but I hate that these two teams are playing each other because they both deserve to be in Omaha. I think whichever one of these teams gets to Omaha has a really good chance of winning. But I don't know. I just feel really good about it.
BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. With baseball season in full swing, BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, scores, and even live in-game betting while the games are being played. We keep the dog days of summer rolling with the largest selection of odds on everything. With updated odds on the MLB, UFC, and boxing to tennis and NFL futures, BetOnline remains the best online source for all your sports wagering information. In between games, head over to the BetOnline Casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline. The game starts here.